So I closed the door and I reparked. There was
As I understand it, because I have been corrected a couple of times in several directions in the past couple of days, the board has decided that our Friday night services will be at 5:30 for this calendar year, and then will be reviewed, if I got that right? Perfect. Okay. 5:30.
For this calendar year means 22. What happens in December, January?
We-
review it.
Yes.
January is going to be reviewed.
No.
Yeah.
The end of December. Now, my own wisdom is, may we all be granted the strength and the courage to make a decision and live with it. Because this going back and forth causes individuals confusion. There was an error on our temple website that said starting in September, it was 7:30, and so you have justification for the confusion last week. And if you feel confused, don't worry, I do too. But any other, David, you need to say something.
Yeah, we need to be sure that the high holiday services are at the times they've been
Yes.
specified in the bulletin and so on.
Yeah.
We're talking about Friday night.
Yeah, because all the high holidays have been set up and planned in advance, and it's too late to change anything. Okay, good.
Okay.
Welcome. Now, go ahead. You start. Good Shabbos and welcome. I won't ask if there's anyone here for the first time this evening because I know all of you, which is very lovely. And I appreciate all your efforts to get here in the rain and the storms and everything else. Let us begin our service on pages 2 and 3, and Dr. Audrey Heimler will lead us in the Shabbat candle lesson.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushonu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlig ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you. Let us continue at the top of page 6. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Let us continue praying together. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. Page 12, L'chuna Ranana. Page 28, please rise for the Baruch. Praise Adonai, to whom praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai, to whom praise is due now and forever. Page 30. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the times and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening Baruch Ata Adonai Hamariv Aravim. Avat Olam. Continue with the Shema. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever. Please be seated, and we continue on 36.
Oh
on the top of page 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Micha mocha.
You stay there.
Let us continue on page 42 with Hashkivein.
Shabbat, Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kol amo Yisrael,
At the bottom of page 44, let us pray together. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For being pleased with the seventh day, you hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Page 46, please rise for the tefillah.
Adonai,
v'shimcha kadosh u'kodoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha sela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. Page 54. You set the seventh day apart for your name, the pinnacle of creation, and you blessed it above all other days, more sacred than all festival times. So it is written in your Torah, the heaven and the earth were finished in all their array. On the seventh day, God had completed the work that had been done, ceasing then on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. Then God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, and ceased from all the creative work that God had chosen to do. Let us continue praying together at the bottom of the page. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest, sanctify us with your mitzvot, and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness, and bless us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us our heritage, your holy Shabbat, that Israel, who sanctifies your name, may rest on it. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Page 56, Ritzeh. In the middle of page 59, when we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us, we mortals that you take note of us? You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the world. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lachana'eh lechodot. On page 61, let us pray for peace together. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Shalom. Let us continue with a few moments of silent private prayer. Please turn to page 253 for prayers for healing. Mishabera Havotenu ve'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak ve'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarechet Cholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Let us mention in particular Sue Burstein, Dr. Robert Kaufman, Ruth Orn, Peter Roth, Ted Simon, Zachary Pastor, Denise Shoham, Stuart Sinai. And we ask if you have additional names that you would like to mention. Yes, go ahead.
Terry Burton,
Phil Gilbert.
Warren Siegel, Carol Walker,
Maureen Goff,
Yes. Biff Brosman. May they all be granted a refuah shlema, a quick and easy recovery. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us all say Amen as we sing together.
Amen.
page 258, prayers for our community. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion and prayer in support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai she'otcha levatcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light will shine in darkness. My remarks this evening will have a lot to do with rituals and customs and liturgies. Let me begin with something that is in this week's Torah reading. I'll read part of it in English translation. It may sound familiar. After the people have entered the land, you shall recite as follows before the Lord your God. My father was a fugitive Aramean. He went down to Egypt with meager numbers and sojourned there, but there he became a great and very populous nation. The Egyptians dealt harshly with us and oppressed us, etc. This is an ancient ritual formula that is quoted in this week's Torah reading, a ritual of thanksgiving for the crops and for the exodus from Egypt. It is not only quoted in this week's Torah reading, you may find it familiar from the Passover Haggadah. We have many ancient texts and ancient rituals, so do so many other people. And we have been presented, if that's the word, with an enormous amount of it in the past, 8 days. With the passing of the Queen of England, we can't help but be presented with customs, rituals, and practices that are almost overwhelming. I said some months ago, recognizing the reality that she could not live forever, that when the time comes, it will be an educational opportunity to see all the rituals involving the mourning, the death of a queen, the funeral on Monday, and then, whenever it actually happens, the coronation. These are all major ritual acts. Now, we need to point out and we need to remind ourselves that in the United Kingdom, you don't have what you have in this country, namely separation of church and state. The funeral and the coronation will be specifically religious events. And to see those religious events, in my opinion, even though they're not my religion, and I may not believe the theology, I find it very fascinating. The choreography, the uniforms, the costumes, the vestments, each color, each design having a different significance. Not that I can identify one from the other in most cases, some I can. The ranks, the order, it overwhelms us all. There will be, if I can put a little bit of a Jewish twist to all of this, one ritual with the coronation, and I'm thinking well in advance, that has a very, very ancient aspect. I want to claim it for us, but it's throughout the ancient Near Eastern world, and that is the anointing of the monarch. Now, I'm going to try to put an interesting twist to this because of how we understand it. Kings, queens were anointed. I almost said kings and queens in ancient Israel, but it was a universal thing. Now, what is, I'll answer the question. Don't feel I'm going to call on anybody. Don't be nervous. Yeah. What is the Hebrew word for somebody who has been anointed? Mashiach. In English, Messiah. But it doesn't have to be Messiah. And it doesn't have to be a Jew. Just to put this in context, it was a generic term, an anointed person, lowercase a, there isn't uppercase and lowercase in Hebrew, but in English, lowercase a, an anointed person equals a king. So in Isaiah 45:1, Cyrus, the king of Persia, is the Mashiach of the Lord. It's another word for king. But if, and I'm speaking English, not in Hebrew here, there's an uppercase, that's a different story. Anointed means king. So I'm just putting this in a sort of historical context for us, and I genuinely feel that the origin of all of this in the British monarchy comes from their reading our sacred scriptures, understandably so. What do you do when you have the coronation of a monarch? That obviously must have God's blessing and God's willingness to give that person success, or at least that's what people pray for. Comparative religions can be very fascinating, and we can do our comparisons. But in doing so, I wish we could step back sometimes and say, we have our rituals too. And let us not forget them. And rituals that aren't just every time a monarch dies or a new monarch has a coronation, but the idea, for example, that we will not allow Shabbat to be a day of darkness and cold, so we light Shabbat lights. Whatever mystical reasoning you want to add to all of that, the rabbi said you're not supposed to start a fire on Shabbat. Well, can you enjoy a fire on Shabbat, the question was asked, and there was a group of Jews who said no. But the rabbis insisted. The answer was yes. So if you live in a cold climate and you need to have a fire going to keep you warm, or if you need something to give you light when it gets dark, the rabbis created this blessing that God commanded us to light these lights. It can be such a powerful ritual that through the ages we have read all kinds of additional meaning into it. Now we have other rituals in our society. Go for a walk in a neighborhood when it's dark and look in the windows of the houses, and what do you see in most houses? A television set. What some archaeologists some thousands of years hence will think these boxes are, and what the ritual meaning behind all of these are, is another story. And I am slightly changing the subject by mentioning television sets, but for so many people today, the reality is their education in general, their exposure to the news in particular, comes from the television. This coming Sunday night and then Tuesday and Wednesday, there is going to be a special program on America and the Holocaust. I look forward to seeing it. I wonder if there's going to be anything that's new that I'm not aware of, but most people are not aware, and this education is necessary. We need to expand our horizons. We can do so in terms of American history and Jewish history by watching these 3 segments. We can do so in terms of larger history by taking a glance, if you don't want to see the whole thing, of a funeral for a queen, and then, whenever it does take place, the coronation. These events, and I'm thinking of those that are about to take place in the United Kingdom and in the not too distant future, because the preparations are unbelievable. Just a footnote, when you think of all the planning and all the rehearsing and getting everything just right and making sure everything works, and then you think of the dedication of the people who are standing in line for I don't know how many hours just to pay tribute. You can't help but be moved by it, even though this may not be something you yourself would do. We can be impressed by what other people do. But this is an opportunity for us to see ritual, liturgy in action, and how it can have deep meaning. And I hope it maybe will inspire some of us to tap the history that we have in front of us, that we have kept alive through the ages. In the book of Jeremiah, and now we're really going back far, and I mentioned this, of course, last weekend as well. When the first set of exiles went into Babylonia, this is before the destruction of the temple, Jeremiah told the exiles, pray for the peace of the city where you live. It has been our custom, our practice, better yet, our obligation to pray for good government wherever we have lived. And among the other changes that have to take place in the United Kingdom, in the services, Jewish services, there's always a prayer for the government, and the name of the monarch has always been mentioned. So all my prayer books that I got from London are out of date. And yes, and you know, the modern practice of having another page pasted over or a good opportunity for a new edition. So a new edition as we approach Rosh Hashanah and try to have a new and better year for ourselves and the entire world. Let us turn now to page 283 as we rise for the adoration. We going to do this together?
Why not?
Why not?
All right.
Amen.
on page 289, a prayer before the Kaddish. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. We remember the recently departed Murray Blueglass, Ralph Einstein, Mary Ann Simon, Leon Denitz, Marlene Gardner, Milton Tambor, Risa Loshak, Warren Colville. We remember those whose yard sites occur at this time: Oscar Epstein, Eva Pollitt Glazer, Ida Ronkin, Ernest Einstein, Eugene Koshner, Isidore Lichter, Henry Kellman, Richard Heimler. Do we have additional names? Well, may their memories stay alive in our hearts and our thoughts and our deeds as we turn to page 294 and rise for the Kaddish. Yit Gadal V'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma Divrach Harutei V'Yamlik Malchutei V'Chaye Chon of Yomei Chon of Chaye Ho Beit Yisrael B'Gala U'Vizman Kariv V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Ul'amei Almaya Yit Barach V'Yishtabach V'Yitpa'ar V'Yit'lomam V'Yitnaseh V'Yitadar V'Yitaleh V'Yitalal Shmei V'Kudshah Brechu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbachata V'Nechamata Damiran V'Alma V'Imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabbah Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Romav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. May the source of peace grant peace unto those who mourn and comfort the bereaved among us. And let us all say, Amen. Please be seated, and I call on Kelly Veet for some announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Kelly Veet. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees here at the Temple, and I'm also the chairperson of the Ritual Committee. And I am so pleased to see you out here. You know, you're the intrepid members coming out in this storm, and we welcome all of you here. I want to thank the rabbi for his thoughtful sermon, and Anne, Kai, and the choir, always inspiring. The music is lovely, and it really adds to our service. Thank you so much. Our high holidays are right around the corner, and I think everyone knows the dates. We have had quite a few people working hard to make it an inspiring service, and we look forward to all of you attending. Tomorrow morning, we have at 10 o'clock our Saturday service and Torah study, as usual. Tomorrow evening, there will be a Slichot service at 7:30 p.m., and all are welcome. With regard to food, which everyone always loves to hear about, Roz Fleischer has been working very hard planning a Rosh Hashanah luncheon, which is going to be at Michael's after Rosh Hashanah morning service. And we're upwards at about 85 people now, so it should be a lovely event. And please join us for our Break the Fast. After Yom Kippur Nila service, we are going to have a Break the Fast here in our social hall, and it is free to all our members, so please join us. And also the popular Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to-go meals are available. So please place your order with the office. And the deadline for the Rosh Hashanah meal is September 20th, and for the Yom Kippur meal is September 29th. You can pick up your meals in the parking lot between 12 and 12:30. And if you need more information, check your e-blast or check the office. And I understand Anne is looking for choir members. Do you want to say something about that, Anne?
Well, I just wanted to know that if you can sing, don't hide your light under a bushel, all right? Come and join us. Might be a little late for the High Holy Day because we've already started rehearsing, but once we get through that, we would love to have you. Carol Shaw can tell you that it's not very intimidating, that it's a very friendly choir.
Oh, yes, it's
a family up there. We did do an e-blast and put something in the bulletin. I think I'll put something in the Observer too. You never know what you might find. And anyway, we pick up a little bit, you know, once we get a little more into season. Some people from Canada and up north. But we'd love for you to join us, or better yet, if you don't want to join us, talk to your friends and ask your friends. They'll join us.
Thank you.
One way or the other.
Thank you, Anne. And thank you all at Shabbat Shalom.
If I may just add something, I want to thank everyone for coming out on such an unpleasant evening. And I am so happy that we are live streaming for those of you, and I'm speaking to those of you who are seeing this at home, that we've made this available. Because on dreadful nights like this, I would not encourage anyone to take the risk, though all of you did. I tried to discourage one person, but I failed. And I want, my wife, and I want to thank Shauna Johnson for doing all this and making all this possible for us. We're in the 21st century. Let us turn now to page 5 as we rise for the Kiddush.
Amen.
please turn to page 322 as we conclude with Ein Kelohenu.